The Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, my question is for the Minister of the Environment and Climate Change. And I'm going to have to paraphrase this headline because it contains some unparliamentary language, but I'll try to get it out while respecting the chair. It's the Maclean's magazine headline. It says, Kathleen Wynne's attack on the Ontario PC plan is, I'll use the word, confuse voters, recognizing the parliamentary requirements. It added that Premier Wynne is wrong. Hear that? Premier Wynne is wrong when she claims the Conservative carbon plan will cost families more than cap and trade and do less to cut emissions. This comes, get this, Mr. Speaker, from the very economist the Premier was trying to cite, saying the Premier is wrong. Facts do matter in Ontario, Mr. Speaker, so will the Liberals retract their attack and apologize for this blatant political propaganda?
Environment and Climate Change. I acknowledge the Minister.
Speaker, indeed, facts do matter, and I'm waiting to hear from some good facts from the other side. Yet, all I'm hearing is hyperbole. You know, Speaker, what Ontario needs, what Ontario is getting, is a realistic approach that balances action with affordability to fight climate change. That's what the voter is asking for in Ontario, Mr. Speaker. We don't take that lightly. Action with affordability, Speaker. Our system guarantees emission reductions at the cheapest price possible for the people and the economy of Ontario, Speaker, and it invests every dollar, by law, every dollar, Mr. Speaker, is invested in those things that will stop greenhouse gas emissions or reduce them, Mr. Speaker. This is a very active system we have.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Mr. Speaker, back to the minister. The economist that the Premier cited, Trevor Tombe, has said, and I quote, "The Premier is very wrong." Her attack is baseless and simply untrue. It holds no weight. The Premier's claim that it will cost more and do less to cut emissions is wrong. Those are the facts by the very person the Premier is citing. And so, given the fact that we know the Premier was wrong, I would hope the minister would do the right thing, to have the integrity to do the right thing and simply apologize for what was a false claim. We deserve that in this House. So once again to the minister, will he apologize on behalf of the government for the false claim that has now been proven completely baseless and incorrect by the very economists who the Premier used?
Seated, please. Thank you. Minister.
Well, thank you, Speaker. You know, this PC platform, he says, using air quotes, it's proof that Conservatives will say anything, absolutely anything, to get elected. You know, Speaker, unlike the members of that party, we recognize that climate change is already costing us with increased insurance rates, higher food costs, and more weather-related damage, Speaker. Yet their carbon tax scheme, under their scheme, consumers, the public, will pay more, up to $400 a year more in annual costs because of their scheme, Mr. Speaker. You know, the National Post called it a shell game, noting that any tax cut will be paid for by an 81% increase in the existing provincial tax on gasoline. You know, Speaker, they will fall short of the legislative targets for lowering emissions.
Final supplementary.
Mr. Speaker, again to the minister, everywhere we look, Liberal spin on the carbon backstop is being disavowed. Economist Trevor Tombe says the Premier is wrong. Canadians for Clean Prosperity say the Liberals are wrong. Even the Eco-Fiscal Commission says the Liberals are wrong. Mr. Speaker, the Premier is wrong. She has been caught saying an untruth.